This is Logical Mgtow Spock, and today's topic is going to be probably a mixture of many things. But I thought I'd start with I saw a video I think within this week that really got to me. Not emotionally, not in any way, but surprising, and not really so surprising, especially with the feminist movement and all that, right? Um, it was a Mgtow video, oddly enough, and it had a video. It had a part to where two women were talking. One young one was getting married. One close to spinster. They were both talking, right? And and one said, "You have power." Basically, what the spinster bitch was saying, you have power over him. You have power to say what goes. You have power to um to take him for everything he has when you want to and when you're fully ready to, unless you give the power to him. Something in that general aspect. But but the one thing is that even in the 1950s, 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 60s and 70s, we men never really had the aspect or concept that we have power over you women. And I know when I say you women, just in case women are watching this video, Mgtow brothers, we know that many young men have asked, why are women acting so fucking illogical? Why are women are so out to do us in? Why are the Western or American base of women out to grab something in what they consider one being power and control and whatnot, even over what we do and do not do? The basic fact is that you could say easily that they are unsure of themselves. That could be also one. That they feel that they need to grab a hold of the rod of thunder, as it were, to feel not really indifferent, but like more in control of their their inner being of themselves, but also where they can feel in control of what happens around them and to them. Uh, what happens even in what happens in the sense of what they feel that they're entitled to get and receive, or basically receive essentially. They don't pay attention anymore to what's important for both sides. What's important for him as well as her equally. What's the the important thing for me to do for him and him to do for me? That's the one thing women are not really focusing. All they are acting like little fucking 2-year-old children and expecting shit to happen for them and to them that's positive and to them that's where they feel that they are entitled to get. Like if they're treating us men that's supposed to be their husbands or boyfriends or fiancés, right? As if we're their secondary father figure. I have said to many people, even many of my friends, even to my old friend Steve Mathis many years ago, women do not know what they want. Women claim to know what they want, but they really don't. Women have tried to manipulate us men left and right, any which way, every which way practically. It's becoming more and more conclusive, even as the years roll by. And I know even Jill Yeaman, my first serious and ex fiance, that is known as now Jill Dixon. She's married, like I've mentioned in one of my other videos before. I know she wouldn't agree with it. What woman would? The general fact is that women, just like liberal Democrats, are afraid to admit the truth because they don't want to seem weak. They don't want to seem like they are inhuman, unimportant, not themselves. Interesting. That last one, themselves. One can be themselves without trying to overtake and overpower the other. One can be themselves without assuming control over the relationship between the man and the woman. One can be themselves without expecting things in the base of even in the levels and base of entitlements. One can be themselves without having what the spinster bitch on the one Mgtow video that I mentioned earlier of having the power. If you women still think that you have the power over the relationship, over the marriage, over the general situation, whatever it may be, when it comes to you and a man, you're fucking nuts. You are not really you're not with it in today's society, especially. You're not with it in the sense of logic. The reason I say that is because simply, if you're out to get things that benefit you women, and yet you claim that you're out to be in a long standing relationship, but as long as you get your way, get what you want, get what you think that you feel that you're entitled to get, even if it's way outside the cost effectiveness and price range between yours and his income combined. And then when you're not happy for any given reason, ladies, you go right over to the base of divorce and try to accuse us men of your unhappiness. You accuse us men of saying He didn't really give me what I wanted. He didn't really give me what I thought he would give me. He promised me numbers of things, but he never pulled through with them. Do you realize, ladies, that many positive things, it doesn't matter what it is, many positive things happen for each of us, single, in a relationship, or married, or about to be married, or even in the concept of marriage, or even in the prospect of marriage, or even in the prospect of a relationship. It doesn't go where you decide of what happens for him as well as you. It doesn't go where you decide what happens and what doesn't happen. I know you're going to say that you women don't do that bull fucking shit. The end result is has always gone to where you women have done that shit. You women always have orchestrated it that way. Now, Mgtow brothers know this. The future and soon to be Mgtow brothers need to know this. The blue pilled Simps and white knights need to know this. The Manginas as well need to know this. The young men in the dating world even for the first time need to know this. In many ways, ladies, you women are not fully established within yourself. You're not fully established for yourself, even in the base of independence. You're not really fully set in a place that you can control what happens for you and to you when you're single. But the one thing is, it doesn't span on to when you're in a relationship. Because when you're in a relationship, it goes to points to where it's a combined effort, to where you help him through things if he needs it. He'll help you through things if you need it. If you need it, essentially, you help each other out, just like in marriage. If it goes to where you women have more power and control over the guy and over the situation, even in a relationship, and what happens in the relationship, as if you are the director of a fucking film, and you say what goes when you really are not that at all in any mainstay. Then guess what? You might as well not be in a fucking relationship. You might as well not be married. And also, that shows that you're not fully set within yourself. Aside from the indecisiveness and indecision within you. Although that usually ties in with it now, doesn't it? The indecisiveness and the indecision usually ties in with it, if not more so. And yes, I know many people say, well, it depends on the situation. And what's really happening at that point in time? Maybe so. But no, there's no reason for it. You women want power. Women want control. You want women feel entitled. Yeah, we all have all our own base of entitlements, but the base of entitlements when it comes to relationships and marriages, that the entitlement aspect is really out the door. By the time you women say I do, your entitlements are out the door. By the time we men say I do, our entitlements are out the door. Thereby, hello combined effort. And that and a good percentage of that combined effort comes through Heavenly Father and our Savior. Right after you say your I do's. It doesn't go where you women have control over the situation in any marriage, in any way, shape, or form, and any level. Same thing for us men. It's never been that way, even in the 1950s and 60s and 70s, and and a good percentage of the 80s to the 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s. Even though women have generally made accusational conceptualizations and thoughts of reasoning. Of, well, guys were this way in those years and they never let up. Oh, the basic fact is that we men don't presume to have power over you women, even in marriage, even in relationships, even in particular things. There's been many men, even over time, that have said, "What do you want to do?" And hardly ever women say, "What do you want to do?" Because when women say that, a number of women have thought, all he wants is sex. All he wants is to pound me, a good one, sexually. The other part of it is that women think that it doesn't really matter what men want. It only matters what women want. And they expect us men to go along with that. And if we don't, we're not really gentlemen. And if we don't, then they chose wrong. And if we don't go by the way of their thoughts and prospects and shit like that, then they chose wrong. And we're not really men if we don't go by their prospects and ideas and expectations and such like that. We can go the same way, ladies. We men can go the same way. In fact, a number of us haven't. It doesn't really solve a thing now, does it? It doesn't prove a damn positive thing either. There's been many European women, many women outside the U.S. that were born outside the U.S. essentially that have demeaned the same gender that they are. Be that, of course, the Western women, the American women, the centralized "I'm gonna get it or else" type of woman. I'm entitled, you're not type of woman. Although there has been there has been, and when I know the European women don't want to admit this, but when they get into the aspect of Western society, in the female sense to start with, they go to the points of entitlements, expectations, and shit like that. They get basically molded into that of Western female society. Basically, they are gradually weaned away from their culture expectations and what have you of the way women are in the European countries and gradually weaned and molded into the Western base of society of the way women are. Like 2-year-old children, expectations, entitlements, full base of control over men. Thought. When women do that, they're not really benefiting anybody, not even themselves. They're not making anybody feel any better, not even themselves. Even though when a person gets something, at times it could be a man too, then they feel good about themselves, right? They feel good, they feel happy, they feel enlightened, all this other stuff, right? But you know how long that lasts? That doesn't last very long. Even if it were to happen continuously, it doesn't. It still doesn't last that long. I mean, even for women, it can happen all their entire fucking life. It's not gonna last. It doesn't last that long. Even the levels of what's known as overjoy doesn't last that long because the emotions heighten to the base of overjoyment and whatnot and happiness and shit like that. Then it goes right back down to the normal levels of where it was even before. Even as they got to the points of wondering what they are about to receive. But yet, when they at times when they get to that point of wondering what they're about to receive, it just levitates a little bit. But eventually, even after it goes higher to the points of overjoyment and what have you else, it goes right back down to where it was. Hence, it does not last that long. Even for us men, when we receive something, it goes up, then it goes right, then it will go right back down. Women expect it to go up every fucking time and stay up. It doesn't work that way, ladies. It never has, never will. We men know this. We men have known this for some time. That's the base of the female entitlements. They expect a fucking in the base of where they feel better and happy and overjoyed and shit like this and like that and whatnot to be where the levels are up continuously and stay that way. That's not reality. You're that way when you're a little child. That's one thing. You're experiencing new things when you're a small child. You're exploring the world around you when you're a child. Of course, you're gonna be having it like this, right? Especially when you get little presents and whatnot even as a small child. And even when you get certain things like sweets, like candy bars or mints or fucking sodas or any number of other things, right? Yeah, of course it's going to be up. But even then, after a while, it doesn't stay up. Even as a child, it only goes only so high, just like for adults, and then it goes right back down. But it doesn't seem that way with children now, does it? Because children are happy to be who they are. They know that their parents can accept them and hope in the beginning that they can accept them for who they are and how they express themselves. And even teenagers want that same thing from their parents, both male as well as female. But at times when even if they get that as teenagers or as preteens, and even in their 20s and 30s, they're happy only to a certain level where it basically just levitates. And then essentially, ever so slightly goes right back down. Many women might contemplate and say, "Oh yeah, that's where we don't feel important anymore, where we don't feel like we're human anymore." Each person is still a human, regardless, even if that emotional aspect levitates only so high, and then even when it heightens up, and then when it goes back down to the normal levels, you're still human. But you cannot expect to have that level go higher and stay that way as your entitlements get even higher themselves. The more you get shit, the higher your entitlements go, right, ladies? The more you get shit, the higher your entitlements go. That's non-reality. That's not realistic at all. The selfishness, one-mindedness, one-track mindedness, and that's a sin. The more you, the more that happens, essentially, the more you're gonna find men going away from you. They'll look at you, maybe talk to you. Maybe a certain number of them will talk to you. But if they notice something about you, and believe me, it's not that hard to find. If they really are intelligent enough, and I'm not saying men are not intelligent. I believe that everybody has their own types of levels of intelligence, of even noticing various things, even about people in general. But believe me, once they find it out, even if they were to date you and they find that out, or even be in a relationship and find that out, they'd be going in the other direction. They'd be like, later. You women do the same shit though. So you cannot say we're not any different on that aspect. And you cannot try to generalize it either. You can say, yeah, well, we women do this. Well, women, you know, uh-uh, uh-uh. You want to keep on acting like you're different in various ways, emotionally and whatnot, when especially when it comes to that. No, you're not. In fact, you're the same until the extent of where you act like little children if you don't get your way. You women are exactly like that of what I explained, to the extent of if you don't get what you want, what you expect of your quote unquote illogical, sinful levels of expectation, even from us men mainly, if not directly, even indirectly from us men. Then you act like little fucking children. Then, of course, it goes to the point of depression. And it goes to the points of where you don't feel human. You don't feel important. You don't feel loved, wanted, accepted. Everybody accepts everybody at a certain level. But when the woman in general, to start with, goes to the points of expectation of men and from men, and then you put a blockade of the acceptance and the respect and the other aspects from men directly. And in percentage also, it can happen to you women when you go that same way, but in a different sense with your female friends. You just put a blockade right there. Emotional and psychological blockade. We men do the same thing at some point or another, and in one way or another of our own way. Everybody has their own way on that aspect. Not many even Mgtow members realize this. They do now. Not many women, even not many, if any, woman essentially pays attention to this. You should now, because what I say is in actuality is reality, logic, fact, truth. Accept it, cool. If you don't, you're gonna be by yourself for a long ass time while you expect shit left and right, up and down, every which way, even from us men. You're gonna be just like this spinster little bitch on that one makeup video I mentioned earlier in this video. And that goes directly to women when I say that, not us men. That doesn't, and just because it goes to you women, not us men, doesn't make it doesn't make us any better or any more special. Even to maybe some men, to their own understanding, until they get old enough to understand even more, it does for some time in their own train of thought. How I know this? Because I even went that aspect where I heard certain things, and I know every other man does in their own way. When they hear certain things, That's where their level of understanding goes. And then as they get older, it heightens even more. Same thing with you women, but you women think that you know more than you really do. Even in the base of trying to impress us men, you think you know more than you really do. Basically, all you do is play act. When really you're just talking nonsense. It's happened on sitcoms. It's happened in real life. It's happened in many different situations and matters and in many different scenes and many different generalizations and expectations and what have you else. It's happened on every base and known and unknown things that would happen, even in amusement parks. You women have done that type of shit towards us, in front of us men, in amusement parks, in malls, at parties, at various other gatherings. And I'm wearing a summer attire, by the way. Um, and and it does impress us if we don't understand what the hell you're saying half the time. Because we were oblivious to many things until we get old enough to understand what what you were trying to indicate or even implement and why. But all we is as young men, we see that you're trying to make yourself look good because you're attracted to you and a certain number of us. You want us to be with you. That's the whole base of psychology. I can tell you, I know more than what I've said so far as well. The basic fact is, you women go to the points to where, like I said earlier in this video, you guys go to the points to where you're not really set within yourself, though. You think you're ready to be in a relationship. You're not. It eventually shows that way. Then, of course, the guy goes right up, right up. Exit stage right, left even, as Snagglepuss would say, the 70s, 60s cartoon character. But yet, when you women don't get what you want, even in marriage and relationships and what you expect, same difference. Snagglepuss exit stage right, left even. But the only way you're able to do that in the sense of marriage is he didn't give me the things that I wanted, that I knew that I deserved. Expectation, expectation, entitlement, entitlement, entitlement. That's all you're really spitting out. High levels of illogical, unrealistic expectation after expectation after expectation after expectation, and entitlements. The 2-year-old attitude. The 2-year-old child type of attitude, ladies. Now, if you watched my other video where I mentioned the Bible, you women have gone against the Bible even more so than us men. and the base of high entitlements and high expectations, high unrealistic, non-realistic especially, expectations. That even goes against the Bible. And you may not think so. Because all you're really focused on is what you want, what you expect, what you feel that you're entitled to get like a little fucking child. A little fucking 2. And yet you don't even admit that part of it, do you? Of course not. You're an adult. You think you're an adult even when you're in your moderate mid levels of teenage. No. You even go to that aspect in your 20s and late teens. That's the wrong way to be. And I'm not judging. The basic fact is that you ladies are not fully ready, even in the mental aspect, of being in a relationship, a serious relationship that will last as long as your grandparents' marriage has, to where as long as say a number of your parents that are still together have. And still is going. I know even as children, you women go to the points of wanting to be living happily ever after, like the fucking fairy tales. I've explained that part of it too. It's easy to live your life, or it's basically easily thought that you can live your life of where the prince, be that of course one of us, any number of us guys that you choose to be with, gets you things of what you want, when you want, on your timeline, as what happens in the fairy tales, time and 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 time again. Every time you watch it, it repeats it either way. There's no change in any number of times that you watch each and every one of them, because that's the way they're sketched out or drawn out and laid out on paper. You cannot go to the points of the expectation and aspirations of trying to associate reality of your own life and existence to that. It's many wonder when you women do that type of shit, then it's wonder why you women are always unhappy, indecisive, to the point of depression, where you don't feel important, where you don't feel anything positive at all. And yet you wanted to go towards, even in the divorce court, of trying to blame us men for it. When really it's your own fucking doing. Those particular expectations and aspirations are your own fucking doing. It's sweet and endearing when you watch it as a small child, watching those fairy tales, wanting the same thing, but eventually you've got to wake up to reality. And reality does not go the way we men want it to, or even expect it to. And it does not, as much as you hate it, for you women, it doesn't go the way you women want it to, or even expect it to, even in the dating world. Even in the aspect of marriage. The reason it goes that way for Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella and fucking and fucking the Beauty and the Beast and shit like that is because it's drawn out that way. But you connect that to you try to connect that to your life, your general basic existence, and you go to the points of the expectation as you try to live that aspirational bullshit fairy tale. And when I say bullshit fairy tale, I'm not putting Walt Disney down. That was his choosing and his idea for children as well as adults to watch for entertainment, enjoyment, not to connect to a woman's life to where they go to the points of high entitlements and high expectations from us men in reality in society. You women say you know this, I'm sure, but you sure don't show it. And that's a number of reasons why the fucking divorce rate is so fucking high and it's still climbing. It is said continuously the percentage of the two genders that contemplate and even go through with the base of divorce, it's higher that when women do it than when men do it. And it makes sense why, because women go to the points of entitlements, high expectations, and connect the aspirations with the fairy tales they tried to associate and install within their own being. And they expect to have a glamorous, glorious lifestyle in the same process, in the same aspect of what have you else, right? But that's not reality. That is not reality. As much as you women want it to be, it will never be. Even if you were to marry the richest idiot on the fucking face of the planet, it still would not play that way because there's been many women that have been married to rich idiots, and I do mean rich men essentially, where they expect to get practically the whole fucking jewels and shit like that, right? The whole fucking world handed to them essentially, and yet they find out it's not so. But yet you younger women use the same aspiration in the base of the fairy tale and expect it and think that you're gonna have it played out different for you. Even with the aspect of you associating yourself to the feminist and Me Too movements, that you think you're gonna get an additional base of support and push to where men, even rich men, have to go into your base and thought of reality when they don't. They don't have to, and they don't in the fucking end result. As hard as you may try, you're going to be wearing yourselves out, ladies. The more you do, the more you try to work towards that. Instead of accepting what you get is what you get and being happy with that. And eventually it may turn out that way, but not in the sense of the fairy tale, not in the sense of the wealthy, rich man type of aspect, where you get the everything that your heart desires type of shit. of the base of expectations. Hell, even Tom Likas knew this, and yet his four wives expected the same aspirational bullshit from trying to associate the fairy tales to their lives. This sort of thing has been happening even since the 1990s and late 80s. It's even happening even in today's part of society and within this aspect, this level of, or this part of the millennium. It's been an ongoing thing where the end result is a higher percentage of divorce rate. You women put the divorce thing, and yet you wonder why there's so many single mothers. You wonder why there are so many unhappy women. You wonder why. You wonder why that when people say, "Oh, you'll get it, man." We get the same. We men get the same thing. You'll make a woman happy. Not really. It's a good thing to think about and dream about, and maybe try to go towards that direction. But guess what? We men know that we logically cannot make people happy, no matter what we do nowadays. You women think that just because you give us what we want, even sexually, you think that's gonna satisfy. We're gonna be happy. We'll do things that you want us to do for you, as long as you do the things of giving us what you feel that we want and what you assume that we want. And also it goes to the points to where you women think that um your time is money. The amount of money we spend on you shows the aspect of the time that you spend with us. Like if we don't spend that much on you, you don't spend that much time on with us. But if we spend more money on you, then you'll spend more time with us. There's been other aspects, ladies, that we've spent our practical entire income almost, if not totally and practically. You still go the other direction and make excuses even along the way at times, if not every time, practically. So that bullshit, that thing is a load of shit right there, isn't it? Because a person's time doesn't go to the points of how much a person spends on you. A person's time doesn't go on the aspect of how much they give you shit. You women need to wake up and realize that shit. The more women realize the things that I have said, even in many of my other logical Mgtow videos, even the psychological, logical, psychological Mgtow videos, quite possibly things can go back to the points to where we can both live happily ever after, even in a marriage, with no high expectations, no high entitlement crap, no bullshit and then to where the divorce rate shortens to the points of almost, if not total non-existence. Right now, that is a pipe dream right now. But we men would like that as well, in our own way of thinking, as well as you would women want it in your own way of thinking as well. But the one thing is that you're not going towards the reality, the realistic aspect of it. You may think that you are, you're not. And you may call what I'm saying is a judgment. It's not. Even Heavenly Father Himself and our Savior Himself knows I'm not judging and I'm not generalizing. I'm stating facts that have been ignored for more than some time. And as a number of the things, the logical and realistic things have been ignored, it's gone to where like more and more expectations, high entitlements have played on through, and when they're not to the points of fulfillment on that aspect, then the divorce rate even heightens more. And then in between that, women act like little fucking 2 year olds even more, even to the points of harming the male. I mentioned on one of my videos that I made earlier this month, that of July, that of July 2020, that is, that there was two news reports, and it was shown on online, that there was a big old argument between a male and female, possibly in their 20s or late teens or something, and they were living together. Okay. And the end result was, aside from the fact that the neighbors in the same general vicinity heard it, even people walking down the way heard the damn thing. Then the next thing they know, there's the guys walking or even close to stumbling down the roadway, bleeding because the bitch stabbed his ass. Because she was threatened on the aspect of that she wasn't going to get what she expected of her entitlements and various other. She didn't. He wasn't going by her estimation of logic, her estimation of reality, her estimation of where, as long as she got everything, everything would have been better. But it never went to where, as long as if she got something, he would get something, or and it never went to the points where if they both got something, then they'd both be happy. It's always where the woman expects certain things in order for things to be on a positive level. Doesn't work that way, ladies. I know you want it to, but it will never work that way. Even if you expect it to, it will never. We men expect certain things to happen certain ways, but we know eventually that it won't, and it will never. We ourselves have to work to make things happen for us men. That's positive. The things that are positive, we have to work for things that are positive to happen to and for us men. Thereby, you women have to do the same shit, even if you don't feel that you need to, or that you feel that you should not be expected to. As if things should be just handed to you without question. Things are not going to be handed to you without question and without any other aspect as well. Because men, as well as women, matter. Men matter equal to women, even when women don't look at it that men matter equal to women. They may say, yeah, we know that men matter equal to women, but really what they're thinking is, really, we women matter more than you men do. We're the special case, the special situation. We women are the special ones. You men aren't. Now, really. It is said in the Bible that each and every human being on this planet, be that Heavenly Father's children, both son and daughter, spiritually son and daughter, are equally important to Him. He has the love and admiration, every positive thing to and for each of us on the same level. One doesn't go higher than the other, regardless of gender. Many people who have common sense and common more than logic, as I do, know this. It may take some time for you women to wake up and realize that same logic and truth and fact, even in the aspect and generalization of spiritual reality, spiritual aspects and reality, all in one that combine. Till you do, you'll never truly be happy, ladies. You may be happy when you're single, but I know it always plays out for you women that you want to be with a man to where he'll give you everything like the fucking fairy tale. As I mentioned earlier on this video. Until you wake up to realize you need to accept the things that you get and receive, as we human beings, both male and female, have learned to accept the things that Heavenly Father and our Savior give us, even if it's unexpected or unforeseen. They still do it. You need to go to the points to where you need to be happy with and what you get and when you receive it. And yes, it could be the base of items as well as emotion. Not always in the same, not always played out, not always laid out in the same aspect or same base of time or what have you else. It's all well and good to get things from people in the sense of itemizations and such, but you can't go to the points of expectations of getting it whenever you feel that you should get it, or in the base of where you feel that you're entitled to get shit. Because then you easily will end up unhappy and alone. With cats around you while you live alone, single, getting older and spinster like. Ladies, wondering where you went wrong and where it went, or basically at first where it went wrong for you, then eventually where you went wrong. It is because of you women, and I'm not judging here, it is because of you women why the population of men it gradually went down with a base of where men committed suicide because of your illogical actions, ladies, and high entitlements and high expectations and shit like that. Where at first you said where you first showed that you accepted him for who and how he was and everything. Then you eventually, when you for a number of men that you gradually changed him from the what attracted you to him in the fucking first place to what you envisioned of him. Then you leave him. Then he goes to the points of suicide, ending his life. And only a certain number of women that really have a true heart feel for him. Yeah, and it is in spirituality, regardless of who does it. Doesn't matter if a female does it or if a male does it. In the base of spirituality, suicide is a sin, spiritual and moral. But also, so is the illogical actions and expectations of women is a sin that women expect from us men. And you women are still wondering, where are all the good men? Really, where are all the good men that we women can take advantage of and get their resources and a percentage of their income to where we can feel more ourselves and more secure, even if we do or do not have children with the guy. Even that, as well as the emotional aspect that I mentioned earlier, that only lasts only for so long. Then when you find that you feel or even feel that you are not getting enough, then a number of women, and it's been shown that a number of women go to the point of either going over to talking to the guy to see if he'd be willing to give her more than what was given to her in the divorce proceeding. And or they'll go straight to the fucking court system and expect to see, and even to where they get a lawyer to try to get more out of the guy, and which basically means I'm going to have him struggle even more. That's a sin. You don't want him to be happy for himself and within himself, even after the divorce process. Then something is wrong with you, ladies. Something drastically, emotionally, and psychologically is wrong with you. You're going to the points of Satanism on that aspect to start with. You're going into the points of Satanism when you expect things that you do not get, then you fucking act like little children. As you whine, bitch, and moan and complain. And then you try to make us look bad, and even in divorce court. And you go towards the base of unhappiness. Oh, there you go, isn't it? Right? The basic fact is you women go to the points of unhappiness because you're trying to emulate the fairy tale into your life. The very thing I mentioned earlier in this video, you women have tried to install within your life. That's where the high expectations and various other things that are not realistic and not really logical in any given way or at any given time is very logical, and you don't like that. But you gradually learn to deal with it, but yet you expect it from us men. And yet the only thing we want from you women is to live a long, happy life in marriage. As long and that's the reason why you women cheat on us. Because you don't feel fulfilled enough. Because of the high entitlements while you're trying to emulate the fucking fairy tale into your life. The Snow White and Seven Dwarfs crap and the fucking Cinderella story. Fairy tale story. Think about that. Whether you want to accept it or not, what I said is an actuality and truth and factual and logic and reality. And it's more than sensible. So you women have ways to go to feel better about yourself even while you're independent. You have ways to go now to where you women can go to the points to where accepting whatever you get and whenever you get it. No, we men are not expecting the TV family, although many of us, even women, expect that of our own families. Yeah, I get that. But we don't get that either. As it's even said, we as children are are not in the place to say, well, okay, I want to be with this family, or I want to be with that family. I want to be born into this family. We cannot pick and choose. We're born into a particular type of surrounding of family members that we are born into, and we cannot do a damn thing about it. All we have to do is learn how to deal with it and cope with it. And as unfortunate as it may be and seem and feel, we have to learn to try to make the best of it. Same thing in marriage. Same thing in relationships. Even if it may seem that, oh, he's going to give me all the things that I want and expect. That's basically what women think. As they try to emulate and install the fairy tale of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the Cinderella fairy tale into their life. And then they find out that it's not happening when they expect it to happen, like it's a damn fucking time clock of when it's supposed to happen. And they wonder why it's not happening. They wonder why, when it will ever happen. They would keep on, and then it goes to the point of arguments and unemotional unstabilization. And then they try to blame us men. Yet eventually, a number of us men say, "Yeah, fine, whatever." When really, it's not our fault. We do what we can do the best way we can do it, even within our own abilities. It's the same with and for you women. But when you women do what the best way you can do, we're okay with it. A number of us maybe expect maybe a little bit more, but you women expect the fucking world from us men. Whether it has to do with traveling, whether it has to do with extravagant gifts like a brand new house or remodeled house, refixtured house, whatever the hell. Anything that has the high dollar value, that's what you women expect from us men. In hindsight, all you're doing really is fully trying to install the fucking fairy tale bullshit of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the Cinderella fairy tale into your life. And because you were trained in some way within your own thought process of that's the way reality is. It's not. The base of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and Cinderella is only that, a story. It doesn't capitulate or even connect with reality. As much as you women would like it to, it will never. The real Cinderella story, and even it's mentioned on the Big Bang Theory on the later episodes, that the evil stepsisters cut off a number of their toes in order to fit that glass slipper, or the slipper in general. They were only thinking of themselves, just like you women only think of you. And you women have lost the ability and capacity of how to truly love anybody outside of you, aside from the children. You're supposed to love your children, right? Regardless. Like I said, children are not asked to be born. But when it comes to us men, you expect the impossible, practically, as has been said by men. But you expect the same thing to happen to and for you. What happens on the cartoon of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and the cartoon of Cinderella. But you women have turned into really the evil stepsisters, expecting to get what you want on your timeline, on your expectation. And we men have to fall into place to deal and do it, right? Like if we have no other alternative, when we do have an alternative. And going Mgtow is one of them. Going our own way is one of them. Being single, being happy, and building up our resources for ourselves and our own well-being in futures and retirement is one of them. Not having to do a damn thing with you women whatsoever fucking ever. Where basically, guess what? The base of humanity expanding, as many people have even talked about, even theorists and seismologists and shit like that have talked about in various different ways and what have you else. It's because of you women that the base of humanity will practically cease to exist. If you go the illogical, sinful, negative, unrealistic bullshit way that you have been going, and it's not the man's fault. We do what we can for you. We've done what we could for you women, logically and realistically and sensibly. But it's you women who try to connect some story into your life and expect the same shit to play out for you. You may deny it all you want, but you know damn well it's true. That's where the high entitlements and high expectation go. Yeah, it's always good to expect things, but not to the points of non-realistic shit. Not to the points where we have where you think where you women expect us men to fall into place and just go along with just to make you happy. But you think that we men are going to be happy as we do that? No. And you think even if as little as you give us men, you think we're going to be happy? But you because you women only think of one person outside the child or children. You only think of one person. You. You women have lost the ability and complexity and the aspect of really truly loving the person outside yourself. And you know, mm, like I said, besides the child itself that you love and care for and whatnot, right? But aside from that, you've lost the ability to love another human being and another adult outside yourself. Even if you didn't have children, you still have lost the ability and what have you to really love and care for and respect the person outside yourself. And you've been okay with it for a number of years now. You've learned to accept it for yourself and within yourself, and think that men have been okay with it. We're not. We will never be. You go to the points of Satanism like that, of only loving yourself. It's okay to love yourself, and build yourself up and everything. But when you're with another human being, you need to show and actually have truth, understanding, respect, consideration, love, even in a relationship and marriage, for and to and the other person besides yourself. If you're not able to do that because of the high entitlements and you trying to fucking put the fairy tale bullshit into your life as an aspiration of an expectation goes into play there, right? You're not gonna be. You're never gonna be happy. You're never gonna be satisfied. And yet, I know you're gonna try to blame the guy for it when really it's not his fault, his doing, your your female feminazi bullshit actions. Unrealistic aspects and aspirations of an action. That's where the old spinster bitch alone and with cats, birds, and dogs at times, or just cats, or just birds, or just a little puppy here, puppies here and there, right? Wondering where you went wrong, or wondering what happened at first, where it played out wrong, or if you could have done something right. What could you have done that would have given you what you wanted? What didn't you do? What you could have done that could have played out to what you got, what you wanted? You'll be thinking that for the rest of your life on that one. And on top of that, humanity itself will gradually cease to exist, and the birth rate will fall even faster than it has so far. And it's not the male's fault. Think about that, ladies. And Mgtow brothers, you know all this. Even if you don't know and didn't even understand or realize of what I said to be an actuality, believe me, it is. It's been like that for some time, for more than some time now. This is Logical Mgtow Spock. Mgtow brothers, stay safe, stay strong, stay alive, stay self-assured, self-confident, and love yourself, and also stay alive, and stay free from feminism and the feminist Me Too bullshit manipulation. Stay free from that. Stay strong, stay single, stay Mgtow for life.